For just over a year, I have been a daily user of the Apple Watch Series 3 GPS model. So what's it like a year on? As you'll probably have guessed from the intro to this video, whilst the Apple Watch Series 4 is here and I like the design of it, I've actually stuck with my Series 3. This is largely down to the cost. Now, I've been using my Apple Watch Series 3 for around 14 months now, and so I thought it was a good time to do a bit of an update video and share if some of my thoughts in my original review matched my experience right now. So let's break that down a little bit. So number one, I want to talk about durability. In my original review, I talked about the durability of the watch and Apple's credentials behind it. Although in reality, if you buy one of the more expensive versions rather than a base model, they tend to be a little bit more durable. What I have found, however, especially having talked about not using a screen protector, is that I was completely wrong. What I mean by this is that actually about a year ago I managed to crack my Apple Watch screen right down the middle. Luckily I had insurance on it, and so I was able to get that replaced. What I have done ever since, however, is made sure that I've had a screen protector on it. In terms of durability of the rest of the device, the casing has some light scratches on, but actually it seems to have held up pretty well. Overall, when it comes to durability after a year, it could be better, but it's not really that bad. I've just found that having a screen protector is an essential. Number two, let's talk about battery life. Apple have always said that the Apple Watch has an 18-hour battery life, and every review has always said that actually Apple have been a little bit conservative in their estimations. When I did my original review, I said that I was getting about a day and a half out of it, and a year and a bit on, that still rings true. What I tend to do is I tend to wear it at night so I can track my sleep, and then I just charge it at some point during the day if it needs it. I've also picked up a pretty cool retro Apple charging stand for it. Number three, let's talk about look. How does that design fare a year and a bit on? Personally, I still love the design of the watch. It's possibly a little bit thick, but maybe that's just because I've seen the Series 4 in the flesh, but actually I think it looks really good. I'm really glad that I went with 38mm for the size of my wrist, and actually it doesn't snag on shirts or hoodies at all. I also personally think it looks pretty smart. In terms of straps, being able to change them out is a really nice feature, but one I haven't really done much. I used the silicone strap that came with it for a while, and then I swapped to a material strap that allowed me to tighten and loosen it a bit more easily. I found this is particularly good for getting better heart rate readings. The variety of watch faces still isn't particularly huge, but it's enough for what I want from the watch. What I tend to do is I tend to have 2 or 3 watch faces set up that I scroll between, just because of different notifications and shortcuts. My daily driver though, so the one I have on all the time, is the activity watch face. This leads quite nicely for me talking about number 4, fitness. As I said at the time of my review, I went from a Fitbit to having an Apple Watch, and so actually the fitness credentials were really important for me. In terms of using it for fitness and tracking workouts and things over the last year, I found that it works as well, if not better, than my Fitbit did. I find that the interface for tracking stuff works really well, it's really clear to see information, and being able to use some of the other apps whilst you're doing that is really useful. So you can change the audio or skip a track whilst your workout still tracks. And I found that actually as Apple have provided software updates, this app has got smarter. This means that whilst to start with I had to go into that app and say, right, I want to track a run or a walk, now it can pick up some of that automatically, and it gives you a nudge to say, it looks like you're walking, do you want to track it? I've also quite successfully on a number of occasions used my Apple Watch to track swims. The main exercise I tend to use it for, however, is tracking running using the GPS. What I do find is that it does this really well, and initially I had some issues with the heart rate, but I found tightening the strap a little bit helps pick that up more accurately. In terms of moving around on a daily basis, I really like the activity ring style and being able to see those complete as the day goes on. I also quite like the 10-minute stand-up reminder before the end of the hour. Then finally, number 5, let's talk about daily use. So in part, the idea of the Apple Watch, or at least so Apple say, is that you'll use your phone less and pick up more on your wrist. What I have found is that this is probably about right. One of the biggest things that enables you to do this is having notifications come through to your wrist. You can choose which notifications to go through to your phone go through to your wrist, but it enables you to see quickly what's come through and decide whether you need to act on it or not. Some of the notifications, like phone calls, allow you to answer them or zap them off from your wrist, and messages also allow you to reply, either using an emoji, a quick scribbled message, or you can get Siri to send something for you. There's also a few default replies built in. Having maps on your wrist is also really useful when you're exploring somewhere new, especially if you don't want to look like a tourist, and having Apple Pay on your wrist is particularly useful for making payments on the go. It's also worth mentioning having Siri on your wrist, which was the new thing with the third generation of the Apple Watch. Since originally reviewing it, Apple have added the feature that allows you to raise your wrist to talk to Siri without actually saying anything. You can also use the keyword Hey Siri, or you can hold down the button. I tend to find this is particularly good for doing things like controlling lights or sending messages or making calls, but it doesn't have quite the same amount of functionality as Siri on your phone. So, just over a year on, is the Apple Watch all that it's cut up to be? The really simple answer is yes. I love my Apple Watch, and if I didn't have it, I know that I would miss it. I find it really useful for keeping track of how active I am, but also doing a lot of everyday tasks, just like seeing notifications there and making payments. One of the things that would be nice is to see some developers create some extra apps for the watch, although for now there's probably everything that I need and a little bit more that I don't even use. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you've got an Apple Watch, share your experiences below. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon.